welcome to the Hands-On channel. Welcome back if you're a return visitor. Appreciate you stopping by. I wanted to talk to you today about a couple of books that I think are must-haves going into 2021. We're going to keep it fairly short here, but it's very important, I think, that you have these things. Number one, just because it's mainly not being taught anymore, you need to get yourself a pocket constitution. And as you can see, mine's well worn. It's got a crease in it there from where I carry it around in my pocket quite often. You need to have one of these things. And not only that, you need to know about it. You know, look at it like your phone. If you're in the bathroom or something, you have a few minutes, instead of surfing the phone, get your pocket constitution out and check it out and start, especially the Bill of Rights section. You need to really be familiar with that. First, Second Amendment, Fourth and Fifth Amendment. Those are all very important things, especially as it pertains to events coming up in 2021. If you don't know your rights, they're easily taken away. You won't even know that they're being taken away. So I can't recommend this enough. If I had the money, I'd send everybody a pocket constitution, but I can't afford to do that. I'm sure you can look around and get them for really cheap or free if you look around the right places. I've got several of them here. I actually have one. I'm proud of this one. Back when Ron Paul was running for president, I got one of these, and it's actually down at the bottom there. It says, courtesy of Congressman Ron Paul's Campaign for Liberty. I love it. It's just great. So this is a really great one, special to me. I don't normally carry this one around with me because it's special to me, but boy, how things could have been different if Ron Paul would have won back in 2012. So another thing, this one here is not necessarily a must-have, but you should probably look into it. I picked this up at an Army surplus store years ago. It's a Ranger handbook. And somebody asked me recently if I was military or ex-military, and the answer to that is no. I never served. Unfortunately, I never served in the military. I thought about it when I was younger and stuff, and I came real close to signing up for the Marine Corps, but some other things happened. You know, I fell in love with my wife that I'm married to and have been married to since then. So things kind of got complicated. I had to make money right away and I couldn't do it, and you know, blah blah blah. It's an excuse. But the main reason that I chose not to go into the military, the number one reason, was because the commander-in-chief at the time was Bill Clinton, and I didn't trust the guy. I still don't trust him. So anyways, guys, you might consider picking up a Ranger handbook. There's a lot of really good information in here about just, I mean, not only survival stuff, but there's some medical stuff here for a lot of different things that you might not be used to encountering, like snake bites, bug bites, different things like that. And there's ways to treat those out in the field and probably keep you from dying. So good to have. And there's also stuff in here about moving troops around if you get into a situation like that where you need to send out groups of people to recon areas and stuff like that. This book right here has a lot of valuable information in it. I probably paid $5 for this or less back in the day. I think it was like $2, to be honest with you, at an Army surplus store, but I bet you can find it online. Give you a close-up so you can see it there. A lot of great information in there. So get one of those for sure. We talked about that. And last but not least, get yourself a Holy Bible. You don't have to get a giant one like this with large text, but I need the large text now because as I get older, I can't see those small text anymore without my magnifier glasses. So anyways, get yourself a Bible. You know, it's time to get right with Jesus, man. I mean, if you guys have been following the channel for a while, you know that we've been seeing the writing on the wall for quite a while now. So it's just a matter of time. Have your spirit in the right place, and that's I believe, with Jesus Christ. So look into that, you know. And I'll tell you a quick little testimony here. You know, years ago, when I was young, no fault against my parents or anything like that, but they sent me off to vacation Bible school. And I'll be honest with you, it was a big turnoff for Christianity for me for many years. I had a real problem with it. For one thing, it was a Baptist-run place, and again, nothing against the Baptists in general, but this place, the teachers or the youth preachers, the youth pastors would scream at the top of their lungs at people and it would literally give me a headache. And I've never been a person that gets headaches very often, but I would go into this place and I would leave every time with a headache. It was just a miserable experience. It wasn't made to be fun. It was made to control. It was basically a babysitter, and it wasn't right. It wasn't good, and it turned me off of religion for many, many years because I saw the people that were up there, and I didn't want to be like them. I knew that. They were, quite frankly, they were jerks about it, and they probably didn't realize it. They probably thought that they were doing the right thing, but me personally, and I'm sure many other kids that were in those classes, were turned off for decades to Christianity because of the way those guys handled that. So later on, the way I kind of got back into it was, honestly, once my daughter was born. I saw it was such a miracle, that essentially my daughter, I don't want to go into too much detail, but my daughter was born with a rare condition called gastroschisis. And it's where your intestines are partially not formed inside of you. Like the skin doesn't form around your intestines right when you're forming inside of there. And anyways, when she was born, she had to have immediate surgery, and it brought me to my knees. I was at a point where I was looking at my baby, and she was like a swollen up football. And, you can see I'm pretty pale complected guy, but my kid was like bright red because her innards were all, after the surgery, they were trying to, repair themselves and stuff, and she was swollen up. It was months and months and months of home care, and she had to be fed intravenously for a while. Even at home, we had to have a little stand that we carried around. We'd feed her and put different medicines in that thing, and she had a what's that thing called? I can't remember what it's called, but it's basically where they put a feed line into your chest, and it goes in there. So we had to clean that like every 2 or 3 days. We had to like take the dressing off and clean it. And, being a baby, her little hands would go like this. And there were times that she pulled the thing and dislodged it, and we had to go get it reinstalled. It was a nightmare deal. And that brought me back to Christianity, brought me back to Jesus, because I realized that I couldn't handle it on my own. And I was basically hitting rock bottom, having a nervous breakdown, whatever you want to call it. I was working as much as I could. At the time, I remember I was making like $6 or $8 an hour at most. If I was making $8 an hour, I probably felt rich, because I had been making $6 an hour forever and being abused by the company that I was working for, and, treated poorly, all that stuff. But I would work as much overtime as I could, and when I'd get off work, or anytime I could get away from work, I'd go by the intensive care unit and visit my baby. So, I really didn't get to bond with my baby for quite a while, because she was in the hospital for several weeks after she was born. And then when she came home, it was difficult because you couldn't pick her up and play with her like a little baby, a normal baby, because she had a tube sticking out of her chest. So it was a very trying time for my wife and I. And without Jesus, I don't think I'd have made it through it. Because there were other things like alcohol and other things like that were calling my name, and I could have easily been swept into that. And I just, I don't know what happened, but one day I remember I just picked up my uncle's old Bible and I opened it up to a random page and I started reading. And as soon as I started reading, maybe not as soon, but after I was about 2 or 3 paragraphs in, I felt a calm come over my mind like I had never felt before. It was just suddenly everything was crystal clear, and I knew what I needed to do, and I knew that, I was doing the right thing by looking to the Bible for the answers. So anyways, I don't want to ramble on too long about it, but that's my little testimony there. That's how I came back, is that, the miracle of my daughter being born, and being born with such health problems when she was born, that really added to it, because it made it such a big deal. Here I am, a 19-year-old guy. I think I might have been 19 or 20. And we were just barely married and, barely making it. And here comes this. We were getting bills back in the 90s that were like $60,000 a pop. Well, at the time, the house we bought on an acre of land was less than $60,000. So we were freaking out because we had no way of paying any of that money back. And of course, through all things, time heals everything, as they say, you know, and it did. My daughter turned out just normal as can be, and everything worked out great. But man, we had to pray, and we had to have our come to Jesus moment, and I'm glad we did, because I truly believe that's what pulled us all together and kept us together, more importantly, as a family. You know, I mean, we had rocky times from time to time, and times of strong disagreement, because, you know, here we are, two young people, each wanting to pursue our own dreams and our own things. You know, it can get turbulent in those situations. And I remember just after that moment, I always knew, and maybe you might think this is goofy, but I still to this day will sometimes, when I'm just at my wit's end, I will go over and pick up the Bible and just randomly open up to a whatever. And, you know, it doesn't have to be the middle. Many times I go to Revelations because, you know, that soothes me or whatever, just to know things to come. The most important thing is get in there, get yourself a Bible, open it up, read it, interpret it yourself, especially now that you're an adult and you can understand this stuff. If you don't like the King James version, you can get the one that's more modernized English and stuff. I get it. It's hard to read all the ye's and the thou's and the, you know, throwing an ETH on the end of words that seeketh, you know, and stuff like that. You know, that's a little weird when you're not used to it. So I can relate to wanting to read the more modern version, but just be careful that these translated versions aren't omitting certain things that are important things. So anyways, guys, that's just my 2 cents on, and hopefully that'll be helpful for you. Jesus is king, man. It ain't any of these people on earth. And I hate to say it, guys, but it ain't up to Trump to save us. It ain't never been up to one man except for Jesus Christ. So put your faith in him and let the chips of the people on earth fall where they may. Appreciate you tuning in, and God bless you. God bless your family. God bless America. I stand for liberty. I hope you do too.